The first half commentary, and thank you for joining us again on Matchday Live. I'm in the studio with Paul Dickov, with Keith Curle and with Kevin Campbell. We're going to have a good chat through about that highly entertaining first 45 minutes of the Community Shield. Paul, what did you make of that first half?
I really enjoyed it. I think City dominated probably for the first 25-30 minutes, a couple of little half chances, but then you've got to say the last 15 minutes of the half, Arsenal were excellent. I thought they were really good without the ball, making it difficult for City to try and play through them. And then obviously Kai Havertz had two really good chances, but it's been interesting to watch, tactically. City are trying to find little bits of spaces in the holes to try and drag Arsenal's midfield and defence out a little bit, but Arsenal are quite happy sitting in there and hitting City in the break. So it's been good. I've really enjoyed it.
It was a quite split first half in terms of the start. City were quite dominant. I mean, certainly in possession, something like 85% in the first 20 minutes. Arsenal grew into it, and towards the end of that first half, they were certainly the better team, Kevin.
Yeah, I think Arsenal were just trying to work out the permutations of when to go in, when not to go in, judging distances. I think that's the important part against City. Whenever they did press early on, City just calmly worked their way through. That's the confidence of this team. They've seen so many different presses, but I think with 15 minutes in the half left, I think Arsenal started to get more of a grip. Arsenal started to press a little bit more, and maybe there's a little bit of fatigue because they're still not quite up to full speed yet. So Arsenal could get a little bit closer to Man City, and it's made a game of it.
Yeah, it really has an enjoyable first 45 minutes. Were you expecting that sort of a start to the game, Keith?
Yeah, I think City dominated, very quickly got into their rhythm and their tempo, and like Kevin just mentioned then, I think last probably 15 minutes of the game, whether it is Man City haven't had that extra 10 days that Arsenal have had, but you've got to say Arsenal. I think Nadem touched on it, for the people that watched it earlier on in the show, the match-up in wide areas, vitally important. Not only with the attack-minded players, because City are dominating possession, but then if Silva or Grealish come off the line, they can affect Arsenal's back four. So then, because if a fullback comes in, then it's a case of then it's about Akanji and Walker exploiting that space that a fullback's going to leave by coming out of that back four. And I think that's something that potentially can open doors.
So a few big chances came in there, of course, 0-0 at half-time, so no goals as of yet. But the two best chances of the game, of course, came from Kai Havertz. Great saves from Ortega, though. Are you happy with what you've seen of your new signings so far, Kevin?
Yeah, I am. I didn't really think Havertz will be played as a number 9, but today, obviously because Jesus isn't there, I thought he's done pretty well. Obviously, you get those chances, you have to take them. That's the big, when you're a number 9, you've got to be, got to punish Manchester City. Interestingly enough, though, Manchester City at the other end, if he gets one chance, Haaland, we know where that's going to end up. So that's the difference. Arsenal are still trying to get that person who can be that difference maker.
Ortega's been great in those, but also John Stones had a brilliant block for the first chance. There was questions, apparently it went to VAR, but when we watched it back, Keith, it was very clear that he put his arms behind his back, but it was a really great block from him. Yeah,
definitely a good defensive mentality as well, getting his body across the line of the ball and then, like I say, moving his arms out of the way, because at the minute it does seem like ball to hand, it's a penalty, so he's got his arms out of the way. Good defensive mentality.
And for the second big Kai Havertz chance, I got a bit nervous in the box. He had the chance, Ortega saved it. We were knocking it round a bit. I got a bit nervous, Paul, and I don't know why I still do. I should just breathe a bit more. Kovacic got the ball and I shouted out in the studio, just get rid, just get rid. But he took his time and he played a ball through to Erling Haaland. Within one slicing pass, we'd gone from worried to all the way up the other end of the pitch. I don't know why I was worried.
I don't know why you were either, if I'm being honest, because look, they're all top players, all 22 on the pitch can handle the ball, but Kovacic has showed quite a few glimpses in this first half what a good player he is. Sitting watching it, and Kevin said he looks as if he's been there for seasons. He's so comfortable in the ball. Out of shape, he knows what he's doing, getting in with Rodri, but with the ball, he's got so much ability. Look, we used to see him at Chelsea just sitting in front of the back four and doing that defensive job. We're seeing here now that he wants to carry the ball. He's got that defence split and pass in him, but he can run at players as well and attract people out, and I think he's been excellent.
From what you've seen so far, could you try and describe to us where he's playing in the pitch and where he's fitting in tactically with Rodri and with the midfielders that are further forward?
Yeah, well, Rodri's the one more often than not that, as we've seen him, is sitting in front of the back four, and then you've got Kovacic just a little bit in front of him, with Julian Alvarez sort of playing in between in between the lines supporting Erling Haaland. But whenever Rodri does step in and go a bit further forward, he's got the experience. Just he's the one that goes and sits in there because he knows what to do, and it's that rotation between the two of them. More often than not, we're used to seeing Rodri just being that one, the pivot in front of the back four. But whenever he steps in now to go at Kovacic, with his football mentality and his football knowledge, is just naturally sitting back in there. I
think that might be another crease we see this season, where usually Rodri just sat. Now Rodri might get the chance to go a bit more, so that will catch teams out for sure. So it's going to be hard to stop.
And Rodri tried to catch Ramsdale out towards the end of the half as well.
Stop it! Don't do that. I mean, he did have Ramsdale scrambling. I think Ramsdale realised at the last second and got back, but that was a really good effort, really smart play, and he's so clever. He's so clever. So clever.
Do you think there seems to be a nervousness about Ramsdale at the minute?
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Keith, I do.
That's not trying to put pressure on the lad, but I get that feeling there's a little bit of nervousness about it.
Yeah, he needs to settle down. Pressure. Yeah, needs to settle down.
I mean, I guess it's the first 45 minutes, in the first competitive game, if that's how you see this game. Arsenal have had a slightly longer pre-season than us, Keith. They've had 5 friendlies, I believe, as opposed to the 3 that we've had. Have you noticed any difference, do you feel in that first half from the level of fitness or anything between the teams?
Again, I think probably the last 10, 12, 15 minutes when Arsenal came into it, you think they've got half a yard. Yeah. But again, that will come with game time. The best way to get fit for football is to play football. As many pre-seasons as we've all probably done, the best way to get fit for football is by playing football. You can do as many runs as you want to until you're out there and you're doing that competitive football. That's where you build your match fitness.
Of course, last season, Paul, the first competitive match we saw Erling Haaland in was the Community Shield, and I do think some people would be rather embarrassed after what they said after that game, after looking at what he achieved. What have you made of his first half performance today?
I know Ali said in commentary quite a few times that he's not touched the ball a lot, but we've seen that so many times through last season. He only needs one chance to do it. But I've been really impressed with his movement. The couple of half chances, Rodri's one that got dragged wide, and then Julian Alvarez had a shot from outside the box. He's occupying the 2 centre-halves. He's coming short, he's spinning in behind. And I said before the game, he's really unselfish in how he does, and he'll just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, because he'll believe at some point he's going to get a chance. But what he's doing is he's dragging Saliba, Gabriel, into places where they don't want to go, to try and create that space to get the ball into Julian Alvarez, Bernardo Silva, Jack Grealish.
His touch has improved as well.
Fantastic.
He's taken one over the shoulder, hasn't he? He's taken it down. Excellent. His movement is really good. He's getting better. Scary. He's getting better.
Considering the boy won everything you could last year, including the World Cup as well, yes. It's frightening what we might see from him. And his work rate for me, Keith, he chases down lost causes, and like Paul says, in the hope, and one of them, a lost cause becomes a chance.
Yeah, definitely. And I think probably, I've sat next to Paul watching it there, because of the camera angle, and it's focusing on the ball, you don't actually see the work that he's doing, occupying people, looking for that opportunity to get on the shoulder, and again, very quickly, within a second, the ball can be delivered, but you've got to be in the right place and you've got to be anticipating it. And sometimes you don't see it from that camera angle, but on a full view, you will see that the lad's putting in a shift.
Really is. Thank you so much for sending in your WhatsApp questions. Do keep them coming in. I'll get through as many as I possibly can. Some crackers we've had. A question here from PS is asking, do we need a Mahrez replacement? We have Foden, Alvarez and Silva. Paul?
Not bad, is it? Foden, Alvarez and Silva in there. I think they've come out and publicly said that they are looking for another wide player to replace Riyad, but let's not forget, Cole Palmer got a lot of minutes, was fantastic in the 21s. Spoke about James McAtee before the game, young Oscar Bob, and it's great to see these young kids coming through. But if you're looking at it as a first team squad, as in improving the squad, it wouldn't surprise me if there was another wide player that got brought in.
We've got a question here for Keith. It's come from Stuart. Stuart says he's in Thailand, first of all, and he says, "Hi Keith, what do you think about Alvarez and Haaland playing more games together? Would we increase our goal average?"
Yeah, potentially. I think more attacking players. Again, but it's who you're going to leave out to get Alvarez playing. With Haaland, does Haaland need that support? Will there necessarily be more goals? Potentially, you could do. I don't know how many goals did Alvarez get last year.
It was decent, wasn't he?
20 goals.
I was going to say 20-ish, yeah.
In all competitions,
All
about 20.
competitions, yeah. Again, so I don't see him as a wide player in a 3 or occupying where Silva or Grealish is playing. So playing off of him and then filling that number 10. But then you're saying, well, going in, can you play De Bruyne? He's going to get more of an output from De Bruyne there or not. Again, but you need a squad, and I think that's the important thing. The opportunity is now to change with the game changes on the bench. Can add another thrust to an attack. Sometimes you play against a team and you say, yeah, fair play, they've done well, but then the changes that the football club or the football team can make can pose different problems, different questions.
Thank you, Stuart in Thailand, for that question. 17 goals Alvarez got last season. Kevin, question from Mushkil would like to ask, Arsenal and their new players will they take time to adapt to Arteta's system? Are they still title contenders, or could they be left behind?
No, they will take a little bit of time. Not that they're going to get time with the Arsenal fan base to settle. But it's going to take a little bit of time. It's a new system, new players, and it's a new season. I think Arsenal are in win now mode. They have to go for it now. Spend 105 million and over 200 million in a transfer window. You have to be title challengers. If they're not, Mr. Campbell's going to be very disappointed.
Oh, we don't want to upset
Mr.
Campbell. Yes, no, absolutely not. Thank you so much for all your questions coming in. I'll try and get through some more at full time as well. So, second half coming up of the Community Shield. Get your full match commentary from Alistair Mann and from Michael Brown on the Manchester City app, of course. The best place to get your commentary for every Manchester City game. It's 0-0 as it stands. It won't go to extra time if it is 0-0 after 90 minutes. It will be straight to penalties. What sort of second half are you expecting?
I think very similar. City will look to dominate possession. Arsenal will look to get the press at the right time. But I think hopefully see a few more goals, because I did say 3-1 before it, so we need to get a few goals in here.
How are you feeling about your prediction, Keith?
2-0, I think so. I think good. I think there'll be a goal after about 20-25 minutes for City, and I think then Arsenal will throw caution to the wind and get caught with another sucker blow. So 2-0 is good.
Oh, that's a very specific prediction. I like that. What specific predictions have you got for me, Kevin?
I don't know at the moment. I said 2-1, and Kai Havertz could have been put Arsenal 2-0 up. I think the first goal is going to count in this game. Whoever gets the first goal is going to be the victor.
Is there a chance going into? Are you expecting many changes for both teams in the second half?
No, I think Arsenal are going to feel they finished the half better, and they're going to the second half and do more of the same. One thing we do know about Manchester City, even with the team that's playing now, they can adjust. Yeah. They can adjust on the fly and make life so much more difficult for Arsenal. I anticipate that happening start of the second half.
It would be nice to see James McAtee get on. I feel it might give us some indication on what his kind of role might be for the season ahead.
It is, and look, Kevin touched on it before, he was fantastic at Sheffield United last season. We all know that. He's been brought into the first team squad. It shows you what Pep thinks of him. You know, because he's not there just because he's a kid. He's there because they believe he's good enough. So it'll be great to see him in the pitch. I'm hoping we get some minutes in Kevin De Bruyne. You know, he had his injury in Champions League final. He's seen back in training this week, not had any minutes yet. So it'll be great to see him in the pitch with the Premier League starting next week.
And Phil Foden for me as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Phil, because he adds a different dynamic as well, doesn't he? He's got the ability to go and play wide, but also then you put him in those little pockets. He attracts other people that leave spaces in wide areas as well.
I've got him in my fantasy football team currently as well, so I'm considering now what to do. Of course, I'm trying to get Keith into our fantasy football league. I was trying to persuade him.
As I said in the group chat the other day, there, I tried it for 5 years and I wasn't very good at it. I got sacked. And so I'm not going to do it anymore. For real.
Can you get the sack in that football?
I don't know, probably.
I'll probably enjoy it more.
You could get removed from our group if you're not really contributing. Yeah. In terms of fitness levels for the last 45 minutes next week, we're into the Premier League again, Keith. As a manager, what would you want to be seeing from your team in the next 45 minutes? Is it very much about fitness levels, where they are, or what else would you want to be seeing from them?
Again, I think it's the combined squad. Personally, I think there are still players there like De Bruyne, like Foden, that still needs minutes there to get themselves up to speed. I think it's vitally important that can we give them competitive minutes now? Again, the season starts next season, but the focus now is win this game. You've got 45 minutes.
This game. Thank you for Paul Dickov, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Kevin Campbell. Thank you very much, Keith Curle. We'll all be here at full time as well. Just a reminder again, no extra time if it is a draw after 90 minutes. It will go straight to penalties. Get your full match commentary on the Manchester City app. If you're not currently watching us on there, you need to switch over now. Alistair Mann and Michael Brown bring you the best commentary. You can get commentary on the Manchester City app for every single Manchester City game. We will all be here at full time, where again, hopefully, we're talking about Manchester City lifting another trophy. The teams are coming out now, so I'm going to go over to Alistair Mann.
Thanks, Natalie. Good timing. The moment you said over to us, out came the City players. Well ahead of the Arsenal players. There's no sign of the Arsenal players. Still getting lots of last-minute information, it would seem, from Mikel Arteta. Gives me the opportunity to tell you a little bit of a history lesson of City in the Community Shield, or Charity Shield, of course, as it used to be known. This is their 15th appearance. They've won it 6 times. They've lost it 8 times. Not always have they taken part because they won either the league or the